Castle, Ireland. Leap Castle is a structure built by the O'Carroll family in the 13th century, located in County Offaly, about 6 kilometres north of the town of Roscrea in Ireland. Dubbed Ireland's scariest haunted castle, Leap Castle has a gruesome history that marks the centuries of crime. One of the most barbaric murders to take place in the castle occurred in 1532 in a room that is now known as the Bloody Chapel. The murder was the result of a bloody civil war in the clan, the dead being the priest Thaddeus, brother of the murderer Tige O'Carroll. The spirit of the priest has haunted the prayer room ever since and was the first ghost of Leap Castle. Even centuries after the castle had fallen into disrepair, one could still see the room's windows light up suddenly at night. However, Leap Castle's obsession doesn't stop there. On one occasion, the O'Carroll clan invited the McMahon family to a celebratory party, according to the blog. However, the meal was the family's last dinner, as the McMahons were poisoned by the host. It says the ghosts of the McMahons have haunted the grounds of Leap Castle ever since. Another spectre that has been seen at the Irish fortress is that of the Red Woman. She wears a flying red cape and wields a sharp blade, according to Authentic Ireland. It states that she was imprisoned by the O'Carrolls and repeatedly raped, resulting in the birth of a baby killed by the bloodthirsty clan. The story goes that after the murder, the Red Woman committed suicide with the knife her ghost is now said to carry. However, not all stories are based on legend. In the 1920s, an oubliette, or dungeon, was discovered behind a wall in the chapel at Leap Castle. The dungeon contained human skeletons that had been stabbed to death on wooden spikes. It believes it has been designed so that unsuspecting guests will fall through a trap into the spikes below. According to Irish culture and tourism website, Ireland Before You Die, the ghosts of 2 little girls have also been seen at the castle. One, named Emily, is said to have fallen from the castle at the age of 11 when she lived there in the 1600s. Some say that the ghost of a fallen girl can be seen while the ghost of her sister Charlotte pulls a disfigured leg. Ghosts of government girls were seen beside them while an old man was said to have been seen on an armchair in the main hall. In 1922, a worker discovered a secret dungeon hidden behind the wall in the corner of the Bloody Prayer Room. Excavation of this catacombs, people discovered countless human bones piled up on wooden stakes. The amount of human bones was so much that it filled 3 carts. Prisoners or uninvited guests of the O'Carroll house will be dropped through the secret door above the dungeon. They will fall directly into the pile of spikes and receive a terrible death. According to locals and tourists, when they come here, they often see strange creatures and supernatural forces called elementals appear here. Even the ghost of Mildred Darby, who unleashed the elemental forces, was holding a dagger ready to stab someone. More specifically, the smell of sulfur and rotting meat is always strong around this area that is difficult to explain. Leap Castle is now privately owned by the Ryan family and tourists are allowed to visit, but will you enter? Castle Keep, Newcastle, England. One of England's oldest structures, the keep was built by King Henry II between 1172 and 1177. There have been countless ghost stories about Keep, from the sound of footsteps in the corridors. Deserted, mysterious mists appear in photos taken by tourists. Hundreds of photos of mysterious light trails, spheres and mists have been posted online and printed in books. Tourists also said that they felt cold air suddenly appear and disappear and they were touched by invisible hands. The Queen's bedroom is said to be the most haunted place in the keep. Many say they heard the chanting of the Bible of the monks echoing between the castle walls. The ghost of a woman has been caught several times in the Queen's bedroom and also in the prayer room. Visitors say they have been attacked, scratched and shoved within the keep's walls. The keep castle's most famous ghost is called Poppy Girl. Legend has it that it is the spirit of a florist who was imprisoned for owed money to others. While in prison she was beaten and raped to death by male inmates. The ghost of the Poppy Girl often hangs around the stairs in the castle. It is said that if she is near you, you will smell the fragrance of flowers in the air. Edinburgh Castle is known as one of the most ghostly landmarks in Europe. Several hundred years ago, it was discovered that Edinburgh had a system of tunnels leading to the Royal Mile and Holyrood House. A trumpeter was sent down to scout. Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. Located 120 meters above sea level, Edinburgh Castle is built on top of Castle Rock, a long dormant volcano. The north, south and west sides of the castle are surrounded by craggy cliffs, and one can only access the castle through the only entrance located on the east side. The oldest surviving part of the castle is St. Margaret's Church, built in the early 12th century. Edinburgh Castle is a castle that has historically been Scotland's main royal fortress, perched on Castle Rock, a vast volcanic rock that rises dramatically above the city of Edinburgh. This ledge, which overlooks the North Sea, has long occupied a key strategic position on the small island on the North Sea coast known as the Firth of Forth. It was therefore consolidated from a very early period in the past. St. Margaret's Chapel, built in the 12th century in memory of Margaret, Queen Consort of Malcolm III of Scotland, is probably the oldest structure on the site. Due to ongoing remodeling and modification activities on the site over the centuries, few medieval fortifications remain today. This castle complex consists of porthole walls, towers, prisons and palaces accumulating from various historical periods and marking each period of Scottish history. The most beautiful buildings date back to the reign of King James IV of England in the late 15th and early 16th centuries. The Great Hall, with its magnificent hammer beam roof, is perhaps the most striking structure. James IV also restored the 15th century royal palace of James I of Scotland, reigned 1406 to 1437, which is located on Crown Square, in the castle, and in a room here, King James IV of Scotland was born. Today, the castle is open to visitors with its drum music scene and army bag lights with floodlights, known as the Edinburgh Military Tattoo. Edinburgh Castle is known as one of the most ghost places in Europe. Several hundred years ago, it was discovered that Edinburgh had a system of tunnels leading to the Royal Mile and Holyrood House. A trumpeter was sent down to scout. He was supposed to blow the trumpet as he walked to signal the people above, but just halfway to the Royal Mile, the trumpet suddenly disappeared. A rescue team was sent later, but no one found the trumpeter, not even a trace of him. The ghost of the trumpeter still haunts the castle to this day. Many prisoners were held and tortured to death at Edinburgh Castle, the most famous being Mrs. Janet Douglas. She was burned alive on July 17, 1537, accused of a witch plot to kill King James V. Her son Gillespie was forced to witness this atrocity from the wall. Because she suffered a cruel and unjust death, her ghost still hovers in the castle to this day. In a 2001 survey by Dr. Richard Wiseman of the University of Hertfordshire, UK, 51% of volunteers carrying high-tech ghost detectors experienced unusual phenomena here. They see dim figures, feel invisible people touching them, pulling clothes. Chillingham Castle, England. Built in the 12th century in the north of Northumberland, England, Chillingham Castle was originally built as a monastery. But since 1246, the Greys have been the long-time owners of Chillingham Castle. They decided to renovate the castle and the surrounding forest, and in the process of renewing the castle, they added a dungeon and several torture chambers. Chillingham Castle's worst nightmare is the butcher John Sage, the embodiment of evil, and his torture chamber. It is estimated that thousands of Scottish POWs died at the hands of Sage. As a bloodthirsty unprofessional, Sage owned a torture chamber full of execution equipment, which is still on display at the castle for visitors. Sage is believed to have tortured about 50 people a week for 3 years straight. When the war ended, Sage devised the most sinister plan possible to clean the dungeon, including men, women, and children. The children were brought to Edward's room to witness the execution of their parents. They were tied up, led to the yard, and burned alive. Sage personally killed the children with an axe. Today the axe is still on display at Chillingham Castle. John Sage was later executed. During the years of restoration of Chillingham Castle, countless corpses were found hidden in secret rooms and in brick walls. The most famous ghost of Chillingham Castle is Blue Boy. It is believed that this is the soul of a boy buried alive. The boy's knuckles were short, proof that he had struggled desperately to get out of his crypt. The boy is often seen in the Pink Room, where his body was discovered along with a few pieces of blue clothing. Charleville Castle, Ireland. In 1798, Charles William Barry, 1st Earl of Charleville, took over the castle. In 1861, little Harrier, the Earl's daughter, was 8 years old when she died in an unfortunate accident while playing. Harrier slid down the railing, losing his momentum and falling to the stone floor. Since then, spine-chilling strange things began to appear in this castle. There is a lot of evidence that Harrier's soul is still there. Some tourists come here, they claim that they have heard the girl laughing, singing, sometimes screaming at night. Many people also believe that they have seen or felt the spirit of the unfortunate girl present very close to them.